So on today's video, I'm gonna go ahead and try to clean up my little door panel fabric here. So let's get started. This here is my door panel, right? And I've never actually cleaned it in the entire time I've owned this Civic. Now, here are some shots, right, of what we're working with here. Now, this fabric isn't really all that thick, right? So this is what we're working with here. It's basically just like a cloth, not so much of carpet, but we're gonna go ahead and try to do as much as we can to keep this from getting any worse, and hopefully try to make it look a little bit more gray, because you guys can see this is kind of dark area, whereas up here it looks light, but on the corners, dark again. We're gonna go ahead and try 3 different methods to try to get this looking a little bit better. For those of you who don't know, I'm Jay, this is Project GoodSpeed, and these are the things we're gonna be using to clean it. So the first thing we're gonna try is Turtle Wax Heavy Duty Cleaner, and it's just for carpets and mats. I'm gonna go ahead and use some brushes and a cloth to wipe off any of the dirt that we get. Now the next thing is a power steamer here, and this is just steam, right? There's no cleaner, there's no detergent, anything, so I'm gonna use this Clean and Protect BISSELL. It's a detergent basically, I think it is. Clean and Protect, so it's supposed to clean, right? Mainly the steam should be taking care of all the dirt, but this just in case. And the extractor here is actually just for carpet. So you fill this up with water and detergent, which I bought, but it came with that one. I bought this extra one just so I can use it for future use, and it just goes into this one with some water, and then it just sprays out of here, and then you use the brushes to agitate the surface, and then this vacuum here sucks up the water and the detergent that you use to clean the surface. Now, it's $8, $40. This, I think this is like $140, $150 on the sale. Essentially, I spent about 200 bucks on all this stuff, and we're gonna find out if it was even necessary. And my prediction is it probably wasn't. I think I probably could have gone by with these two, right? Any combination of these two, but this one is for future use because I've never actually cleaned the carpet in here either. So I think it could come in handy in the future. Anyway, let's get started on the cleaning. And it's gonna be hopefully not that difficult. You guys can see compared to the driver's side, the passenger one looks a little bit more gray and a little bit lighter, whereas this one has a lot more dark areas, which basically just means a lot more use. I drive it, I work on it, I drive it, I work on it, and it's just, you know, vicious cycle. Anyway, let's get started. This is what you don't want. You don't want to spend money on cleaners that don't do a damn thing. Well, let's see. That's pretty dirty. Look at that. A lot of dirt, a lot of dirt. Let's try again. Ooh, yeah. You can definitely tell I've never cleaned this stuff before. This is the only downside to this elbow grease method, right? It's just gonna be a lot of spraying and then wiping down because I gotta keep going until I get all the dirt out, right? But I can already see it's starting to look a lot grayer. You can see on the video, this is like a dirty gray, and this is an actual gray, so that's good. Now for the steamer, right? Like I said, it's just steam. There's no cleaner, but luckily I got some detergent in a bottle here. I'm just gonna go ahead and pre-soak this area and then work it in with a brush. Now for the steamer, right, you just fill it up with water, press this lever, steam should come off. There it goes. I gotta use my right hand though. And unfortunately, it's still the same thing with this, right? I gotta wipe it off as I'm cleaning. That's pretty dirty. Let's add a little bit more detergent. And then we agitate. These corners are really bad. This is where all the dirt piles up. And now more steam. I mean, just looking at it, can you guys tell the difference between the just the turtle wax and the steamer? I mean, I guess it's probably just mostly due to the detergent, right? The steam definitely helps, but the detergent probably also is doing a similar job that the turtle wax is. So kind of hard to tell. Now we're gonna move on to the extractor part, and this one's gonna be a little tricky because I don't think I'll be able to use it as effectively as I'm supposed to. This right here is what you want your OEM fabric to look like, not this, even though this is, I've gotten used to it, so I don't really notice it, but this is what you're supposed to have. Let me kill the light, and you guys can see a little bit better there. All the fabric is supposed to have a pattern on it, right? I think this one looks a little bit lighter just because it's not as wet, but this one looks a little bit darker, still gray, but just not as light as this one. Whereas this one is just dirty gray. You can tell. This area here is a lot more noticeable, right? Because it's fairly clear enough for you to see the gray, and over here it just looks kind of tannish. Brown, dirty, and then clean. All right, guys, so we're moving on to the extractor, right? And I've actually never used it before, so before I try it out on that, I'm gonna try it out on my floor mat here. Now, I've already vacuumed it, so it should be ready to go ahead and give it a shot. Like I said, I've never used it before. There's the packaging. But essentially, it's just fill it up with water and then a few ounces of the detergent. And then press start, and it should turn on. Okay, not bad. It's pretty self-explanatory and not that hard to use, really. Just spray it for the water and then let go of the spray and then just brush it off and then angle it and vacuum it off. Now we move on to the extractor door panel portion. I've already treated it with some detergent and I've worked it in with a brush. So now let's go ahead and spray this down and get to work. Check it out, boys. Look at that. That is definitely a whole lot better. However, I really can't tell the difference other than maybe this one compared to that one, but these two look pretty similar. This one looks the best, but it could just be the lighting. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty damn similar. So now that we've seen what each one of these can do individually, essentially the extractor is ideal, really. It just soaks everything up and gets all the dirt out, whereas these two, I'm basically kind of just like wiping away the dirt with a towel. I can't really suck up all the dirt that's in there unless I use the extractor. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit everything else with the extractor, hit up any spots that I might have missed, and I think we might be able to get it looking kind of like this area here. Oh yeah, well, actually, I don't know. The footage will have to speak for itself because for me, I think it's a little bit better. I think it more closely resembles this area. However, there is a little bit of a downfall, right? Because of the area I'm working with, this brush is not ideal for agitating the fibers on the material here. So I still had to use this little brush thing to agitate. The vacuum is pretty spot on, really. That's basically the main function of this thing, right? So you can get all the water extracted from whatever you're cleaning, right? Because the other methods basically just leave the liquid in there and you're supposed to just wipe it off, but that's never 100% guaranteed. However, with this, you can kind of see the dirt sort of stop flowing, which means it's clean. Although there's not much I can do for my ripped fabric, right? It's kind of hopeless. The back of it is dry. Check it out, look. Dry. Still dry. One of these days I'll have to glue this back on and leave it in there, but for now that's pretty freaking spot on. Look, you can actually see the pattern, right? Before it was just so dirty you couldn't see the fibers underneath, but now you can see where it gets agitated, right? Ooh, damn. All right, let's go ahead and clean this up. I'll give it one more pass just to make sure I've got all the dirt out. But I think that should do it for now. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other one as well and call it a day. That one over there is not as dirty, so it shouldn't take me that long. Boom, check it out. On this one, I just used the steamer. Of course, I agitated a few sprays of detergent in there as well to try to get as much of the dirt out as possible, and then I hit it with the extractor. I just kept going until, until the dirt stopped coming out, and then I just kept going some more just to make sure it was all dry. In terms of the stuff we used, that one, not so bad, but like I said before, it looks sort of clean, but the dirt is still in there, right? It's decent enough, but it doesn't get all the dirt and grimy stuff out from underneath the fibers, so I really won't be using that one too much. Now, the steamer, however, really does a good job of agitating all the dirt in there, right? In some of the videos, you could probably see a few of the droplets just shoot out, right, with a bunch of dirt on it, and I guess you can say that it soaks it right, but if I don't get all the water out, it'll just dry in place. So this is a good combination to use with this, right? The extractor really does a great job. And let me see if I can show you guys just how much dirt we got off of this. Look at that. Oh man. Yep. That's pretty bad. I was just putting my hand on that all the time, right? I mean, it makes sense, right? I've never cleaned them before, and buildup of the dirt and the oil and all the stuff that gets on the fabric doesn't really go anywhere, especially when you use stuff like that, right? You kind of just spreading it around and then it just dries in place unless you wipe it all off. I think from now on, I'm gonna go ahead and just use a combination of both of these two methods, right? That one for like the little corners. Oh, and of course, the extractor here has its downfalls as well, right? This brush here is too wide and too big to get into the little crevices, so I am gonna have to use a little brush. Obviously, this does a better job as well of agitating certain spots, but it's kind of hard to keep it steady and flat. So I'm gonna just go ahead and be using a brush to do a combination of the two. Now that all the dirt is gone, I really don't have to do too much. Of course, I still have to clean the carpet, and that's gonna be a whole separate video. But for now, look at that. Clean. It does look better, although if that's $200 worth of better is, your decision to make. I do want to say that these two things are definitely going to come in handy later on in the future for whenever I have to clean anything else, especially the carpet or anything that is kind of hard to, to clean properly. The extractor and the steamer will come in handy. So in the long run, right, it'll be worth it. As for one sitting, right, if you go someplace and they charge you $200 just to clean these panels, definitely not worth it. But if I spend $200 to go ahead and clean them myself and I keep the tools, then I would say it's worth it. Now, are there some areas that I didn't get to? No, I'm perfect. I got them all. No, I'm kidding. Yes, of course, there's some areas. Of course, it doesn't help that my fabric, right, is kind of peeling and it's definitely torn here. Yeah, I probably should have removed this, right? It's just one screw and I would have been able to get the extractor in this back area. I mean, I got the brush in there and really agitated the detergent, but I couldn't get the extractor to basically extract all of it. So there might be some water and some dirt still stuck in there, but it's not gonna be perfect. So, elbow grease, steamer, and extractor. Which one? Well, both of these two did a pretty good job of making it look clean. However, once I gave them a pass with the extractor, you could easily tell it was not. But this vacuum really does a good job of getting everything that's soaked into the fabric out. Whereas those two kind of just leave them in place, and it's not ideal, but it'll look clean for a while, but when you compare it to this, it's definitely not clean. So that's gonna be it for this video, right? Until next time, and until I decide to clean the entire carpet, which I am not looking forward to do, but it has to be done. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. So take care and good speed.